Very good to be with all of you. As you know, I've been doing some reading about Lenny Bruce to try and figure out if I want to do something. And last night it was from How to Talk Dirty and Influence People, Lenny's autobiography. Hi there, Mr. Dickens. And hello to everybody in Toronto, Andrea. Wait, Tirana. Tonight it's from the Albert Goldman, Lawrence Schiller book, Ladies and Gentlemen, Lenny Bruce. And it's distressing from the first page. It opens with an astonishing recitation of the drugs that Lenny Bruce would take in any given day during, I guess I'll call his best years in show business. Oh, mercy. What I'm going to read from now is a little bit later. He had somebody who traveled with him, his sidekick, whose name was Terry. And now, Terry was also his pharmacist, as you might imagine. But there other stuff too. So let me just listen because you get some idea of how an act is put together. What grabbed Lenny was that Terry was a reader. One night, Lenny asked his friend to draw up a list of 50 books that every educated man should know. Poor Lenny. Never got beyond the 10th grade, but he came from the sort of Jewish family that reverences learning. His father was always quoting Pearl Buck. Lenny would say, "Wouldn't it be great to just sit and read, really get down with it?" Lenny hadn't got the patience, the concentration, the sitzfleisch. I'm not sure what that is. Do you know what it is?
You won't say that.
Seriously? Oh, mercy. Okay.
Keep reading.
Forgive me, I apparently uttered
It's in Yiddish.
It's in Yiddish, yeah. Well, but I just didn't know what it was.
No, this is right.
Yeah, okay, whatever you say. When he pushed too hard, he got terrible headaches. Terry would sit down at the table between shows, riddling off titles like an English professor. Evelyn Waugh, Aldous Huxley, Christopher Isherwood, Black Lamb and Grey Falcon. Woo! Was Lenny impressed. That was 5 or 6 years ago. Now Lenny Bruce is famous. He's the hipster hero. Round his face, figure, and fast-talking mouth resonates the whole hip culture. He's the playboy come to life with a gorgeous girl in one hand and in the other a copy of Dr. Schweitzer. When he walks out onto the stage floor with the New York Times rolled up in his fist and a heavy furrow running down his forehead, he looks, and Albert Goldman says, which gets the girls horny. I hadn't heard that. He looks like some new wave writer figuring out an existential detective story that could run an Esquire while they were filming it at Saint-Tropez. When Lenny starts to spritz, I can say that, right?
Yeah.
Interspersed with the hip jargon, flying off the bops and the beats of his Broadway Brooklyn raps are always allusion to big sounds, like Stravinsky, Picasso, Charlie Parker, Jose Limon, James Joyce, jazz, existentialism, analysis, peyote cults in California. He's concerned about the racial scene, the man in the White House, the economy, the way the country is changing. He has a philosophy, an attitude. He speaks from experience. I've done an awful lot of reading. Yes, he muses on stage, a finger across his lips. I like to read for a couple of hours every night before I go to bed. Now, why shouldn't he say that? It's part of his act, his image, but the image is a bitch to sustain. Lenny isn't that knowledgeable about jazz. He saw Europe through the porthole of the SS Brooklyn. We read about that was the ship that he was on before he figured out a way to get his honorable discharge, which we read last night. Most everything he knows, he picked up at the movies. Even so, there is a way of handling his problem. Mort Saul found the solution. It's called osmosis. Mort Saul was another great comic at the same time. I did a profile of him once years ago. The way Saul worked, wherever he was at home or on the road, he would have his room lined with magazines and books. A voracious skimmer, he never read anything. By flipping through this and staring at that, reading a sentence here and picking up a word there, he got an idea of where everything was. This is shocking, but I won't. When he went into his monologue, you'd swear he'd digested the whole world. Charles de Gaulle, Dwight Eisenhower, segregation, Shelley Berman, trade unions, Marty, Dave Brubeck, New York, Berkeley, Beckett, newspapers, coffee houses, sandals, J.D. Salinger, filter tip cigarettes, the State Department, Dick Clark, German radios, birth control, Charles Van Doren, Adlai Stevenson, natural shoulder suits, Cuba, Israel, Dave Garraway, the Diners Club, Billy Graham, sports cars, the Strategic Air Command, wow, a barrage. Lenny doesn't need all that crap. He's really funny, not just nervous like Saul. But the trick is the same. He sits a guy like Terry down and says, "Look, man, here's the gig. I need an intellectual lobby." No, sorry. I thought that was the wrong. I need an intellectual seeing eye dog. Somebody who can check out the papers every day, read Time and Newsweek, do a little research for me, just set me up nice. So in a way, when I go out on the floor at night, I'm the best informed person in the city. Dig it? System works fine. Terry, Richie, Benny, or who's ever traveling with Lenny is always a smart, studious sort of cat. After all, what is literacy? It's words. How do you learn words? You hear them. If you've got a good ear and a tongue that can mimic anything, you can learn whole languages by rote. Lenny is a mind-mouth man. His brain is located somewhere between his ears and his tongue. All he has to do is get the hang of a word, and he finds a place to slip it into his act. That night, he walks out on stage and drops the bomb right on their heads. Flamboyant rationalization, Herculean propinquity. Bam, bam, bam. He's killing the people. What's more, Lenny is like Tennessee Williams or Arthur Miller. Scenes, voices, jump shots, zooms, pans, one-liners, burlesque bits, childhood memories. Every fucking thing you'd ever want for movies, books, plays is flying through his head. He just has to get it down on paper. He needs a guy who can bring him out and get it down. He doesn't have to sit at the typewriter. Bringing in Miss Knurch, some plain chick in a brown wrapper, sit her in a corner like a court stenographer and let her take it all down. Important thing is who he's talking to, the guy's face. Some faces are magnets. Just one look. Everything flies out of your mouth. Fucking face is making you a genius. You want to tell it what you got in your head. You want to shock it, choke it up, gross it out, fuck it around. Sorry, these words. Like with his autobiography, Lenny's doing How to Talk Dirty and Influence People. Great title. Tat like Terry says, Lenny, how about when you were on a farm in Long Island? How about the Navy? How about the time you met Honey in Baltimore? You don't hit all of them on a given day. There's bound to be one aspect you can relate to, one set of changes that you can blow. That's your creative spritz for the day, man. That's where it's at. Terry also helps with the unpacking of Lenny's wardrobe. A half dozen Kleenex suits, flimsy but elegantly fashionable, Continental models that sell for $49.99 on 6th Avenue. Press one every afternoon for a week. Then when it's time for a cleaning, make a present of it to the bell captain. For off-duty hours, he's got his treasured Levi's worn with white boots that give his feet a Mother Goose look. Lenny buys the Levi's at Army-Navy stores and bleaches them with Clorox. Just like he did in the service. Then he takes them to some little uptight... He uses a word for Jews that I'm not going to. And it's all part of his act. He would use it in his act. I'm just not going to say it. Taylor and floors the man with his exacting specs. Every seam must be opened, every piece of cloth recut, and the whole fancy custom tailoring job done on this 2-bit work garment. The tailors always scream and gesticulate and dribble ashes down their vests. Buttonholing Lenny like he's a judge sentencing them to death, they plead with him to forget the mishigas. Lenny laughs and pushes them down behind their sewing machines. He offers them stunning bribes. When he slips into the finished product and appraises the work, posing casually before a pier glass, his flair for fashion is confirmed. The pants cling to his thighs and round his ass with irresistible effect. The crotch carries, his bird light and tight. The rounded collars flow down into center vent that reveals his delicate blue-black chest hairs. Cute and kissy, exults Lenny in the mirror. That's the way he loves to look, cute and kissy. Lenny carries a vast supply of white underwear because he has all of the classic Jewish cleanliness phobias. He may bathe or shower 3 times a day, swill glass after glass of mineral water, and spend endless hours in the bathroom sitting on the can, meditating deeply on his current plans and future dreams. Lenny comes from a lower middle-class society that allows no one privacy unless they are protected by the seal of the bathroom door. Going into the bathroom is the equivalent of saying, I want to be alone. In Stamp Help Out, the cookie picture and caption book sold at his concert, Lenny printed a photo of himself sitting naked on the can, his head lowered, hands folded, with a funny sort of reflective, pursed, lipped expression on his face that spells out the toilet thinker, the latter-day Jewish version of the Rodin classic. Actually, his ultimate ideal of pleasure is to sit naked on the can and take out a syringe and pop a vein and shoot and jack and then maybe have someone come in and cop his joint. And then draw out the syringe loaded with blood and spritz it on the wall, where there hangs an Andrew Wyeth picture of a typical American boy, associated in Lenny's mind with his roadies, all the young, blonde, straight-looking cats with whom he travels from city to city. Yes, the bathroom means a lot to Lenny Bruce. Cleanliness, privacy, fantasy, ecstasy. Can I read just a little more?
Yes, of course.
15 minutes later, as Terry comes striding back into the room, the phone rings. The telephone is Lenny's favorite instrument, but he considered it beneath his professional dignity to take the calls himself. Terry must screen the callers and weed out everyone but the people of importance. After a couple of quick words into the receiver, Terry turns and says, it's Arnold Levinson. He's down in the lobby. Great, shouts Lenny across the room. Tell him to get his fat ass up here on the double. Always polite and soft-spoken, Terry relays the message through the battered, greasy Bakelite. Phones were made of Bakelite in those days. Lenny says, please come up. Within 2 minutes, there's a discreet knock at the door after the usual delay caused by the business of unbolting, unchaining, and turning lock handles. The door swings open. There stands Arnold Levinson. Thick, slab-chested, a man with large pores and tiny eyes, Arnold looks comical, squeezed into the latest model thin-line Continental suit. He is a show business attorney, and he's also supposed to be Lenny's manager, yet there is a lot of make-believe in everything he does in Lenny's name, because Lenny doesn't trust anyone to do things for him. Often, Lenny finds himself being undercut by his own client. He is one of a legion of Lenny Bruce admirers who pay the price of pointless, not very profitable service for the privilege of access to the fascinating one. Lenny, how are you? Beaming, Arnold crosses the room and seizes the towel-draped hero in a clumsy bear hug. How was Chicago? Terry stands outside this touching scene. He doesn't know from fat Jewish lawyers who look like song pluggers. Levinson has just shaved, but already his face is shadowed with a new growth. Terry hangs up clothes and tries to put away suitcases. He stacks magazines and manuscripts. Better to be Lenny's valet than just gawk at these two grown men, one naked, one ill-dressed, embracing like the Pieta. No shit, Lenny. Tell me about Chicago. How did it go? Arnold notices Terry at all. He doesn't bother to introduce himself. Lenny is coy. He backs away. He'll spritz a bit. Chicago is so corrupt, it's thrilling. There's some stuff you can't put down over long distance. Dig? Like turning on with the fuzz. I'm not shitting you, the narco squad. Lenny grins, knowing he is also turning Arnold on. We're sitting upstairs in this private dining room at a moth restaurant with the head narco on the Gold Coast blowing pot together. Feature that. Perfunctorily, Arnold says, you're kidding, which means he wants to hear more and more and more. Lenny's flea-skip mind is already somewhere else. Another time we're out in a raid with these cats. I'm not shitting you, man. We're all together in the squad car. We stop at this joint. He refers to it with describes it as a joint with a racial epithet I won't use here. The Sutherland. What was that, Terry? Terry breathes out. Sutherland now. Never mind. Never mind names. Arnold, almost breathless, puts it in. Yes! The Sutherland, yeah. They hitting a couple of guys who were dealing backstage, so they grab them, line them up against the wall with their hands on the bricks. Dig this. The head narco comes up to this one cat, reaches into his jacket, grabs his stuff, and barks into his ear. This better be dynamite in here. I'm going to come back here and kick your ass all over the floor. Arnold is having a really good time. He's beginning to sweat. His face is getting red. So then Terry starts to put in. Lenny is all over the floor, acting, waving his hands at all that doofy, as in Raoul Doofy. Mm-hmm. Raoul Doofy Blue talking like the racial epithet again, talking like a cop. Even Terry can't help but chuckle. Lenny sure can act. We're back in the squad car now, and we're really turned on. We're snorting pure drugstore cocaine. That dumb red roof light is flashing. The siren is going, wow, 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 wow. How's that for corruption? Abruptly, Arnold feels called upon to be outright motherly. Lenny, they might be setting you up for an entrapment. You ought to be more cool, baby. Man, it was cool. Wow. It's a lot to take in, isn't it? How do you feel about Lenny Bruce?
He's so troubled. But interesting.
Troubled but interesting. I think that's a good way of, yeah. So I'm going to persist.
Yes, you should.
One of the drawbacks, of course, is that you can't put all but a few words of his act into anything that you write. And I don't mean for language stuff. If you overcome that, it's just, the family copyright and all that. So
it appears that they may be up for grabs in this moment.
Yeah.
Because the latest reprint of his autobiography was dedicated to Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh, I didn't know that. Of How to Talk Dirty and Influence People was dedicated to Jimmy Hoffa.
It's to Jesus Christ and to Jimmy Hoffa.
Well, often not in the same sentence, but maybe I'm missing something. Mr. Dickens says, "I'm glad he was before my time."
Jimmy Hoffa?
No, I believe he means Lenny Bruce. And Andrea Mitchell says he was very much a man of the 60s. Two interesting people. I guess that was Jerry, or Jesus Christ, not Jerry Christ. Jerry was his brother. I think they found out, right?
Moses and Jerry. Yeah.
So that's a lot to take in. And let me tell you, the stuff that precedes it about what he took in on a daily basis during what were his best performing years. Absolutely flabbergasted. And to think the man was arrested for using an obscenity. I mean, oh, maybe that's my line of,
Your entree.
yeah. All right. So thanks very much for being with us in our open book. Tomorrow, the great Garrett Graff will join us to talk about his latest book, the oral history of the making and decision to use the atomic bomb and the aftermath. It's very good. He was on our show a couple of weeks ago. So thanks very much for being with us again on our open book. Good to be with you. We'll see you later. Take care. Bye-bye.